Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order this regular Town of Strathmore Council meeting of June 5th, 2013. Welcome everybody in the crowd here and those on our computer and on virtual TV. First item on the agenda is opening prayer by Pastor Don. And she's here.
Let us pray. Gracious God, as we gather tonight, we gather with the concerns and the minds of all our citizens. We think of our children and their need for places of recreation and safety. We think of our youth and their need for places for adventure, but also to learn responsibility and citizenship. We think of the many adults that both work in our community and those who go out of town but live here and make this their home. And we think of our seniors as they face the uncertainty of the future and as they look to our community as a place for the remainder of their lives. Lord, as we meet tonight, as we plan for the future, may we think about the people more than anything else, for that's really what we are about, the community, the people of Strathmore. Now bless our meeting and bless each person gathered here. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Don. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Councillor Sobel?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Rocky?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Hamilton?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Best? Councillor Field?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Rempel?
No,
Administration?
Yes, I do. On 5.3, I want to move it to 5.1.
Okay.
And if you turn to the next page, 8.7 is the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. And 8.8 is the Town Transportation Committee. And that's it.
Thank you.
Move to accept the agenda as amended.
All in favor? Carried. 4.1, adoption of the May 15, 2013 regular council meeting minutes.
I move the council adopt the May 15th, 2013 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. 4.2, adoption of the May 22nd, 2013 special council meeting minutes.
Your Worship. I'll move to adopt the minutes of the May 22nd, 2013 special council meeting minutes.
All heard the motion. All you in favor? Carried. Don't mix me up here. Delegations, Mr. Godsman, please come forward.
Mr. Mayor, Town Councilors, earlier this year, I approached the Town of Strathmore and asked them if they'd be interested in donating funds towards the production of the book, Remembering Our Roots. I'd like now to present you a complimentary copy of my book.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And the reason I asked to be on early, I'm also a developer of Strathmore.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Congratulations. We'll read it here in the next 10 minutes or so.
Anybody would like a copy, you know where to go hold it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We have a Kevin O'Reilly.
Mayor and Council, thanks for inviting us, and I wanted to say thanks for being given the opportunity to work with Council, Mayor, Town Administration in the future as the new detachment commander, and look forward to the opportunity and challenges. Recently, in the last month and a half or so, we've had some concerns with regards to Highway Number 1 with Mayor Dwight and our integrated traffic unit, myself, the sheriffs. We met, kind of made up a plan. So I wanted to report on that. Since about the middle, April 17th or April 20th, we've instructed our members to get out, try and do some work out there, try and target speeding and red light infractions and violations. Since that time, the members have been out on designated patrols for an hour or two at a time, different times of the day and evening. We've had approximately 75 violation tickets written, about 4 warning tickets. There was one suspended driver, which caused a vehicle to be seized. That vehicle was an 18-wheeler, cattle liner. So it's not just vehicles and drivers that are driving the every day. It's also targets. By doing that enforcement, we've been able to get suspended drivers and people without licenses off. We've also seized a vehicle due to no insurance, and we also were able to catch 1 red light violation. Obviously, it's a difficult thing doing the red light violations. We've worked a strategy with that. We hope to improve that a little more. We try to target that a little more by using unmarked vehicles and that type of strategy. We've certainly gotten some good feedback, or I have, both from people in the community and town management team, that they've seen us out there a lot more. We've gotten a lot of help from the integrated traffic unit and sheriffs, who have been constantly coming in when they do and contacting our members and targeting those offenses. So, the second thing that I wanted to speak about was drug complaints. Since January 15th, we've obviously we're always targeting that. It's always a big concern in every community. Since January 15th, we've had 17 complaints. We've had 5 charges, and 5 investigations are still under investigation. As you see, I brought our 2 newest members. They both graduated from Depot Training Academy in Regina. Constable Erin Peters is from Ottawa. She's been here 4 months. She's doing well on her cadet field training, and we expect good things from her. Constable Adam Arendez has been here 3 months, also doing very well. They were very well reported on in Depot when they came to us, and they met those expectations and exceeded that. And Adam is from London, Ontario.
Welcome to Strathmore.
Welcome.
The final thing I'll mention, and it's caused quite a stir in the last week, is we spoke about doing an open house in Strathmore at the detachment. It's one of the things that I've been trying to do for the last couple of years, and we finally got it to fruition. Both Adam and Aaron have been instrumental in developing and planning the event. We expect a large number of people. I guess we always depend on weather and that, but we certainly have gotten the word out. We've got a lot of feedback from community members, both in town and in the rural area. We've invited, because we encompass both town and rural, we've gotten it out there. We've done a very good job, I think, contacting the school boards and all the schools in the entire area, both rural and town, which is what we're kind of targeting, is the kids and families. We've gotten out a lot of posters. The schools have sent it out on their electronic bulletin boards. Adam and Aaron both came in today on their day off to spend most of the day running around both the town of Strathmore and our rural communities. And almost half of those they went to, they were able to get feedback that it was on. So we're looking forward to that. It's June 15th, and we have confirmation from both the mayor and Jason Hale, the MLA, will be attending the held.
Thank you very much. Any questions from council?
No, just thanks.
Not. Thank you very much. And once again, welcome to Strathmore.
Thank you.
Thanks, Staff.
And that was Staff Sergeant Kevin Roddy. I apologize.
How soon they forget.
Mr. Lance Knopton, regular buffer trees, page 13. Did I pronounce your name right? Sorry.
Yeah, it's Lance Knopton. I live at 100 Strathmore Drive West. And I kind of had a little blurb, but what I did was I also brought some pictures.
Okay.
Just to kind of skip through. One issue is the plucking of trees on my neighbor's property. I've tried to be a good neighbor and go back and forth. I offered to pay half cost to trim down the branches coming over my property. I offered to pay half the cost if they were just to out and out remove them. And they kind of said, well, yes, we will, yes, we will. Now they kind of changed their mind, which I guess it is their trees. What my problem is the trees are between 50 and 60 feet high. The branches literally move over my entire backyard. Last year, I had to clean up 3 bags of leaves on top of removing all the lower branches that I could get rid of. So I took 3 or 4 pickup loads to the dump, to the recycle. I had 30 bags of leaves. Then this spring, I actually hired a landscaper, and he came in and charged me $160 to finish removing the leaves. And these pictures, I probably should have taken them before, but these pictures were actually taken after the landscaper came through and cleaned up. I have sticky buds all over my truck, all over my car, all over my steps, the back walk, all over my roof. My gutters are full. I got to get out there and clean up the gutters. And I was just hoping that council would consider some form of a bylaw or something that would just say, well, if you got trees 50 feet in the air, you should have to share some responsibility for how they so negatively impact your neighbor. I've got a little dog. It's a hairy little thing. He goes out, he gets sticky butts all over them. I walk out on the deck, they're on my shoes, they're in my house, on my landing. They get trapped into the carpet. I just feel that it's not fair, and I hope that there's something that perhaps bylaw could kind of look into, saying maybe if a tree is over 30 feet, I feel that if you have trees like that, you should be responsible for your own tree and how it so negatively impacts your neighbor.
Have you checked that with a lawyer to see if it's legal to cut the trees that are over the top of your yard?
I can. Actually, I asked bylaw, and they said that I could cut anything that crosses the fence, which is fine. But now I'm paying another. I had it quoted. They said anywhere between $800 and $1,200, which is out of my pocket. Which I wouldn't even care if the neighbor was willing to pick up half the cost. But he didn't want to be fair with me, and so now I'm kind of saying, is there something that could be done through bylaw, just to make people and responsible for their own trees. I mean, when I look at the neighbor to the east of me, he told me my Christmas trees were bothering him, so I went and cut down all the branches that were interfering with them, without question. My neighbor to the west of me offered to trim up his big tree because he thought that it was maybe interfering with overhanging my truck, and I kind of told him, well, no, it's okay. I appreciate trees, but these poplars are just so out of hand and so many leaves and so many stinky buds, it's just not fair that I'm saddled with the entire cost. When they're 3 feet off my backyard, and probably 80% of that 3 trees hang over my yard because I'm just south of the people that have them, and trees typically grow south, reaching for the sun. So I've got all the leaves, and they have virtually none.
If any questions from council, I'm just one question about the administration first. Is there any bylaws that would answer this question?
Your Worship, I believe that private property is a civil matter. It's not governed by bylaw.
You can't govern it by bylaw?
We can't govern it by bylaw.
The question, Councilor Best.
It's not so much a question, Your Worship. I've been to Mr. Napton's place, and the trees he's talking about, not only do they come over the fence, but they come right over the top of his house, like across his backyard and over top of his house. They basically cover his backyard. The acidity that he gets from these trees and the buds that are dropping are quite frankly abominable. He owns a vintage Mustang that sits out front, and Councillor Blockland, you could be appreciated with this. Those little sticky buds are pretty nasty to for a paint job on a vintage car. I'm not sure if there's anything that we can do, and apparently from what I just heard, it's probably not likely.
We could write a letter just asking and to be a good neighbor, but I don't believe that we can enforce this through bylaw.
But I know that, as Mr. Napton was saying, that he has spoken to his neighbors. And although at first they were quite willing to get involved and pay half of it, that as the cost became what they considered prohibitive, all of a sudden they thought that not to be the best thing to do. I don't know what we can do, but I certainly would like to do something.
Any questions, Council? Councilor Sobel?
Well, just a comment, I guess, or maybe a question as well, sir. Have you spoken to a lawyer about this? No?
Well, the thing about, I could sue them civilly.
And that's where I'm going with this.
I could sue them civilly.
If you cut the trees down.
And I could sue them for the cost and the cleanup and the patio furniture that I wrecked. But then what happens is, you go to court, and it would be sold at court. You go to court, you get your judgment. Okay, so then they turn around and tell the judge, well, gee, Your Honor, I don't have a whole lot of money. Can I make payments? The judge says, absolutely. So then you get your first 2 payments. Then they stop paying.
I know.
Then you got to take them to court again. Like it just.
Yeah, it doesn't. I know. I know.
Yeah.
But I don't see any way around this one. I can't see us having a law on this. This is I think a dangerous road to be going down as well, because it is private property, and certainly it's infringing on your peace and quiet. And I don't doubt that, but that's why our civil courts are in existence, is for situations such as yours.
I was kind of hoping that council could do something. I'm not surprised that you can't. And I appreciate the time for hearing me, absolutely. And
Sympathize with you, sir.
yeah, like I say, I was just kind of hoping for the best. And
Councilor Hamilton, Councilor Best?
Thank you.
Yeah, just curious, is the property adjacent to you, is it sold yet, or
no, it is for sale.
maybe you might have better luck with the new owners?
Yeah, and the name's on mine.
Yeah,
I realize that, so.
Councilor Best?
Your worship, through direction, I was just wondering if we might have council write a letter, or the administration write a letter to this home and ask if they may not get involved in helping with the cost of removing those branches.
Council is in favor of that, I don't know. You know, nice letter from council. Also, I would like to ask administration to check with other, there's got to be, we're not the only municipality that has that problem. So could we check with other municipalities to see what they do to handle the problem? I know we're not the only municipality. Okay, thank you. Councilor Fuel.
I just had one last question. Are any of the branches near or crossing power lines?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no power lines.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly sympathize with you, sir. I know what you're up against, and I'd like to take all those poplar trees down.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do you want this bill?
Sure. Thank you.
6-1 public hearing, July 3rd, 2013, page 21.
I'd move that council set a public hearing date for July 3rd, 2013.
You all heard the motion. All in favor?
July 3rd,
Carried.
Sir.
Pardon me?
July 2013.
Sorry, I missed it.
6-2 bylaw was carried, by the way. Bylaw number 13-12 Kinsman Park Land Use Amendment, page 23.
Move that council give first reading to bylaw number 13-12.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I would move that council refer bylaw number 13-12 to the public hearing scheduled for July 3rd, 2013.
You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. Election bylaw number 13-10, page 29. Did someone speak to this?
Yes, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Council, Your Worship, administration is just bringing forward the elections bylaw, just for pretty much general housekeeping for the upcoming election in October. There's not very many changes to it, just some changes to reflect some new legislation that has been brought forward by the province. Basically, it's lined out there. All electors must produce photo ID now to be eligible to vote. Deposit required to be submitted with the nomination form has increased to $500. The returning officer must now refuse any nomination form that does not have the required number of eligible electors. And voting hours on election day will be from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those are the changes in the bylaw. Administration is just requesting that we give first, second, and third reading to the bylaw.
Pardon me? What's that?
Administration is requesting for second and third reading to the bylaw.
Thank you. Councilor Sol.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to where we came up with the $500 nomination form. That I think it's a substantial increase over what it used to be.
Sure.
Could we have second reading first and then discuss that? Isn't that normally how we do that?
Okay.
Sure.
I would move that council give second reading to elections bylaw number 13-10.
I think we need first reading first.
Well, she was just asking for second reading, second and
For
third.
second and third.
Oh, okay, sorry.
First reading is what I thought, yeah. You mean first reading?
I would move that council give first reading to elections bylaw number 13-10.
Thank you. You all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. No second reading.
I'd move that council give second reading to elections bylaw number 13-10.
You all heard the motion and discussion.
I'll reiterate my question as to the reason for the substantial increase in the nomination fee, please.
We talked about in the past it was 250, and administration said, maybe that's a little bit too low. Maybe it should be a little higher. So various numbers were discussed and thrown around. And then we put in here 500, see what council felt. If they don't like it, we can easily change it.
Councilor
But
Best.
we need to know
sorry.
tonight.
Councilor Best.
We discussed this at our fall workshop and decided that $500 was far too much and came up with, I believe it was $250. And that's what came out of our meetings. I'm not sure where this 500 came from, but I certainly don't agree with it. I think basically what we're doing by doing this is we're eliminating a lot of people who may want to run for council.
Just, and if I could, your worship, just as a comment too, I'm not sure, I didn't do very much research on this, but the research I did do for instance, in the province of Ontario, which has a blanket policy in this regard, and some of the communities in Alberta as well, range between $100 and $250. But I stand to be corrected if any research is in existence that shows that these numbers have increased in other places.
Yeah. Jen just mentioned, it's up to council, of course, and go as high as they want, pretty well. So anyway, it's thrown out. If council want to change it, do it.
I would like to see that 300. Well, go ahead.
Yes, Your Worship, through the chair to administration, what is the, I can't remember from 3 years ago, but what is the deposit requirements? I know if you get elected, you get your deposit back. If you get a certain amount, percentage of the votes, you get your deposit back. Can you maybe explain that?
Yes, I can. So if you are elected, yes, you do get your deposit back. Also, if you get, I believe it's 51% of the votes, you get your deposit back. So it.
I thought it was 60% of the 6th person who was elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Any further comments? Still funny. Councilor Best.
Well, Your Worship, I would like to make an amending motion on this that we change this the $500 to $250.
300, did you say?
No, 250.
Oh. Any further discussion? You all heard the motion? No, sorry.
Your worship, I believe I was the one that brought this up at the fall workshop in the first place. And the reason I brought this up for that amount was quite simply, let's separate the serious people that want to run for council from maybe the less than serious. And if you're willing to put up $250 to run for office, I don't see what the problem is moving it up to 500.
Some people may not have that, sir.
I'm sure if you want to run for office, which to me is a serious position to hold in the town, you can get yourselves $500.
Councilor Rebel.
Yeah, through the chair. I guess the only the reason that I can think of that a person would probably the less serious would do that would be able they would be able to afford to lose the $250. It might be worth $250 for them to see one of the incumbents not get reelected because they put their name in knowing full well they would never get elected, but that'll split the vote. It just takes votes away from some of the incumbents. That's about the only reason I can see for.
Are you worried, sir?
No, I'm not at all.
Oh, wait.
And I'm not defending the $500 deposit. I'm just saying, that's the only reason I can think of where it would make a difference.
Good.
I agree as far as the 250. I think it's a reasonable amount, although I see Councillor Rocky's viewpoint too, because if you decide to run, you have 36 months to put aside money for a $500 deposit. I too would like to make sure all the candidates are serious and that they really believe in what they're doing if they're going to come forward. I'm happy with the 250, but if it went to 300, that might be a compromise between the two sides, if there are two sides.
Without being rude to anybody, I keep thinking that if you don't have $500, is it unfair to me to say that how good of a businessman are you? I mean, is that unfair? I mean, think about it, folks. This is a serious business. And if they're that popular, you can always borrow some money from somebody if you're that broke that day. Maybe that's very rude of me to say, but that's the way I think.
My turn?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have no problem remaining at $250. I think that if people are serious, they'll put up $500 or $250, and it just I think gives it more of a playing field with $250. And I know that the administration is going to have a what do you call it? Orientation. Thank you. For all new candidates, and that might weed a lot of potential candidates out, saying that they don't have the time or commitment, and go from there. And it leaves the serious ones available to come up with the 250 and take a run at it.
I believe there's a motion on the floor.
Go ahead,
I find $250 to be a fairly substantial amount of money. I don't think anybody's prepared to just throw away $250 for a lark. The difference between that and $500, I think is I mean, you're into hundreds of dollars anyway. So I just as soon see this stay at $250 myself. I think that's allows somebody to be serious about what they're doing here. So.
Motion on the floor.
I think the mayor should have bought 5,000. Anyway, you all heard the motion, and no further discussion.
Yes.
Is it 250?
250.
All in favor? Carried. You're weakened to me.
Now we have a second reading on the floor.
Third.
No, we haven't voted on the second.
We haven't voted on second reading, right?
With amendment.
Where were we?
Second reading.
Second reading.
Discussion on the second reading, and So now we need an amended.
We wouldn't make the vote on the, yeah, we voted on the amendment, now let's vote on the reading, sorry. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you made the motion?
Councillor Best made, I made the motion for second reading, Councillor Best did the amendment.
Yeah, okay, we did the amendment, now it's your motion on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Here, no further discussion, all in favor of the second reading? Carried, thank you.
I'd move that council give unanimous consent to a third reading of election bylaw 13-10.
You all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried.
And your worship, I would move the council give third and final reading to elections bylaw 13-10.
You all heard the motion? In favor? Carried. Old business renewal of the electrical distribution franchise agreement, page 37. Welcome.
This item, the renewal of the contract with Fortis, was initially discussed first. The question was raised about the town's ability to terminate the contract at that time. Administration sought legal counsel on that question, and the contract provides for two ways in which it can be terminated. The first is if there's a material breach of the contract that is not remedied, or a default of the contract. Contained within the contract, there is procedure to follow up on that eventuality. Secondly, the other way to terminate the contract would be to purchase the distribution system from Fortis. The administration feels that based on the prior servicing by Fortis here in the town, it is unlikely that a breach of the contract or a default will happen in the near future.
Any questions from council?
Just a comment, Your Worship. I was involved in, actually, I raised this issue at the council meeting, and the one point that I think is significant is that this contract does not include any costs. It's just a contract to keep them as our supplier. So I have no concerns. All concerns that I had in this regard have been met and explained fully. So thank you.
The one question I had was come to mind all the time, that the developer pays for, in new subdivisions, the developer pays for all the new poles and then the wire and everything else put in the ground, right? Correct? And then it's there for a couple of years until we sign off on it. Then Fortis gets it.
Yeah, correct. Similar to the road sidewalks and what have you that are put in by the developer. In that case, those assets go to the town.
There's no advantage for this stuff to come to us so we get more control. Why? I mean, if it happens at roads, why wouldn't it happen in power utility posts?
I can't answer that.
We don't want them.
We can't do that.
We may.
It's laid out, it's got to go.
Yes.
And once it goes there, the town ends up with a little bit of a fee that we get back, a few $1,000s. But other than that, it's all turned over to Fortis. I found it frustrating because, the developer spends a few $100,000 and then just gives it to Fortis. But that's the only way you can do it.
Everybody else does it that way.
Pardon me? Yes, unless you're like Lethbridge or some of the places where they have their own power company.
Yeah.
And their own operators and so on,
Okay.
linemen.
Thank you. You should be here tonight.
Your Worship, where are we on this? Have we given first reading to this?
We have not.
We need first reading, just the first reading tonight, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I move the council give first reading to bylaw 13-09.
And that we sign, you want the whole thing in one reading? And we sign a letter?
Yes.
Well, we'd need all three readings, would we not?
Not for the letter, do we?
There is
The
three.
resolution to be passed.
There's not three.
There's a resolution.
goes to the utilities board, then comes back.
What about this letter that you want signed by us?
Yes, we need the letter.
That needs to be passed, that resolution needs to be passed.
I would also move that council authorize the mayor and CAO to sign a letter addressed to the Alberta Utilities Commission, letter attached, make an application to the AUC, and to have the AUC advertise concerning the franchise agreement.
Thank you. You all heard the motion.
That's it.
Any further discussion? Not? All in favor? Motion carried.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, Mel. Page 81, Cooperative Stormwater Management Initiative Regional Collaboration Grant. Jesse, welcome.
Evening.
Hi, Jesse.
Yes, it is. The throat's getting dry.
At our previous council meeting, council had made motion to continue our participation in the Cooperative Stormwater Management Initiative. And part of that is the partner's application for the Regional Collaboration Grant. We're planning to apply for grant funding under the Regional Collaboration Initiative for full funding of the next phase of our initiative. So in order to apply for the grant funding, we need to have a motion from each of the partners acknowledging council's desire to apply for the grant funding under the Regional Collaboration Initiative. And so this evening we're looking for a motion, fairly specific motion. We're trying to keep the motions consistent across all of the partners. And basically in support of applying for the grant. And the grant, I neglected to indicate the grant would be for $250,000 application, and that would fund the entire next phase of the initiative, or what we anticipate the next phase to cost.
That's not a matching grant by any kind, is it?
No, it's not.
And that's all provincial monies. So hard to request questions from council or motion to go forward?
Well, I would move that be it resolved that we, the town of Strathmore, authorized to participate in an application for the Cooperative Stormwater Management Initiative submitted by Rocky View County under the Regional Collaboration component of the Regional Collaboration Program. Who wrote this? A lawyer? No offense. And further, that the town of Strathmore, a participant, agrees to abide by the terms of the conditional grant agreement governing the purpose and use of the grant funds.
Thank you. I would, if you could, Jesse, maybe give a Reader's Digest version for the press as to what this is really about. Could you kind of explain it a little clearer?
In terms of the grant or the work?
Or the work for the grant.
Okay. Well, this is in support of the Regional Stormwater Initiative that we're working with the WID, Rocky View County, Wheatland County, City of Calgary, and Chestermere to establish a regional stormwater program. We have a couple sub-basins that obviously around town. Our drainage goes to Eagle Lake and goes to could be Serviceberry Creek or the canal in the north. So we're working with the WID to look at potentially leveraging the infrastructure and the works that the WID have in the area. Through the legislation and the Irrigation Districts Act, they have basically statutory rights to virtually every drainage course in the area, and thus it's more so to our benefit to work as part of the regional group to take advantage of that and work together on that to drain our stormwater out of the town and use those works. So it's basically a program to work with the WID and the other partners in the area to drain stormwater through the WID.
At the end of the day, being good stewards of our stormwater management.
Well, yeah, a big goal of the group is to establish quality and treatment quality programs for release of the water back to the Bow River and potentially to the Saskatchewan.
Councillor Best?
This, in essence, is saving us hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
That's what we're anticipating, yeah, absolutely. To do this ourselves would basically require us to leverage our existing easement to the Bow River, and would be a lot of mechanical pumping of stormwater and treatment to basically get it to a point that we can discharge into the Bow River directly through our
wastewater line. It would become a joint water or stormwater wastewater line. Substantial ponds basically collect and then release stormwater.
So in essence, this is a very good thing for the town.
I think it's a great opportunity. Absolutely, yeah. We're just releasing the RFP. The RFP has been released for engineering consultancy services, the presentation previously to council, and so we're anticipating some results.
Thank you.
I want to compliment staff and administration on the great job and the progress that you've made so far. I'm really impressed by it. Yeah. Thank you. You all heard the motion on the floor. I think that was a complicated motion. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
8.3 voting tabulation. What? Am I missed one?
Yeah, ethics.
Staff Code of Ethics and Conduct Policy, page 83.
Your Worship, administration has spent a fair bit of time on this policy, and we haven't had code of ethics and conduct policy in the past. We did circulate this to management and ask for comments, and those comments have been incorporated into this policy. And we're asking for approval tonight.
Any question to Linda? Not looking for a motion.
I move the council adopt policy 1103, staff code of ethics and conduct policy as presented.
Last chance. Any further questions to administration? Councilor Best?
No.
No. All in favor? Carried.
Great job on that, Linda.
Good job.
Yep. Voting tabulation system, page 93.
Your Worship, we're back to elections again. This time, administration is looking for council's approval for funds for the lease of a voting tabulation system. This is the same system that was used in the last election. It wasn't included in the budget, so we're coming forward to council to ask for approval for this expenditure at this time.
Councilor Best?
Your Worship, I believe that the last election we had everything tabulated and the results were known by about 9:15, if I'm not sure, or earlier even. Two elections ago it was 2:30 in the morning. This makes absolute positive sense, and there's no way that we shouldn't be moving forward on this.
When we were at the FCM in Vancouver, there were several companies that do this kind of thing. And I got some names of other companies, some material, and we'll take a look at the various options. It may end up at and get a little bit cheaper. We'll see.
Just a question, Your Worship. So then, do you want to see the motion read not more than 14,500? Okay. Your Worship, I would move that council approve an expenditure of not more than $14,500 for the lease of a voting tabulation system for the 2013 municipal elections, and that the funds for the lease be drawn from the Financial Stabilization Reserve.
Yeah, Councilor Rempel?
Yeah, through the chair to administration, this tabulation system is only used at the polling stations, or is it used at the for the institutional votes as well?
It is my understanding that the system is not used for institutional votes. It'll be used at the advanced vote and on election day at the polling stations.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think we got the money, so let's not have the election. It's pretty easy, eh, Lloyd? You all heard the motion. No further discussion. All in favor? Carried. Additional page, or number 8.4. Additional employees for FCSS, page 95.
Worship, Council. LCSS has now been operating as a town department for 5 months. We are continuously learning and monitoring the needs of our citizens as we grow. One of the areas that we've committed to improving and focusing on is programming for our youth. Our intent has always been to partner with the youth club, as their goals and objectives are very similar to ours when it comes to youth programming. Their mission is to provide children and youth with opportunities and activities that build positive relationships, strengthens and develops self-esteem and confidence, and promotes personal skill development. Their goal is to ensure their programs are affordable and barrier-free for all children and youth in Strathmore and the surrounding area. They aim to provide programs and services that connect children and youth to their community while enhancing positive social interactions and skill development. We have been in discussions with the youth club staff and board members and have agreed that running parallel programs is inefficient and a waste of resources and time. In an effort to prevent a duplication of services, we are suggesting that it makes sense to partner on the programming. The town's contribution would be to provide the staffing. The board of directors would continue on as a registered Alberta charitable organization with their focus on seeking out and securing funding support through grants, fundraising events, and community funders. We would initially propose hiring the 2 existing paid youth club staff on a part-time basis, which would be up to 29 hours per week, with the intent to change their status to full-time beginning in January 2014. There are also a number of part-time facilitator positions which make up about 30 to 40 hours per week that the town will be responsible for. The fees paid by clients using the programs would offset a portion of the facilitator costs. And we are recommending that council approve 2 additional programmer positions plus part-time facilitator positions up to 40 hours within the organizational chart under the FCSS department beginning June 24th, 2013, with funds to be drawn from financial stabilization and the amount not to exceed $60,000 for the balance of the 2013 year.
Councillor Best?
So in essence, are we taking over the youth club?
It would be a similar situation as with the Handy Bus. So it's still a charitable organization, it's still a charitable club, and our contribution towards this would be providing staff.
And we supply staff to the Handy Bus?
Yes.
Councillor Fuel?
Your Worship, I just wanted to point out that I think this is a great idea. The idea will remove a great deal of fundraising problems that we sometimes experience as a board. It'll also give us stability of funding, which will help us, as you said before, Linda, help us with grant application, as well as if we decide to pursue becoming a Boys and Girls Club, that stabilized funding will be a huge thing for us. So I applaud you for the idea. I think it's great, and it's another way for us to send out the idea that the Youth Club of Strathmore is alive and well, and there are programs running for the kids. So I think it's a great idea.
Councillor Rocky?
Yes, Your Worship, through the chair to Linda. I believe you ladies have done a remarkable job on all this, and I think it's just a matter of time down the road when this town will realize how important the youth club is in Strathmore. I've spoken about this lots of times with Councillor Fuel. We both attend the youth club board meetings. It's going to be a positive return down the road. There's no question about it.
Councillor Rankle? And Councillor Best?
Yeah, through the chair, I'm in full agreement with this idea, and I think it's brilliant. I think we're finally showing the community that we are serious about our youth. That I think this will go a long ways in maybe clearing up some of the issues that the older folks against the younger people, and I think that I hope that they get the impression and will understand that we want them to be part of our community.
Councillor Best and Councillor Sobel?
Although I'm definitely for the youth club and things, I'm starting to look at numbers here, and numbers worry me. I've been doing that for many years now, and we're talking $60,000 for half a year right on here right now, right? What's our cost going to be for full years, and especially when you go to 2 full-time positions and the part-time positions?
I guess you need to remember also that there are fees for programs, so there will be an offsetting number.
Not that kind of money.
And I guess the other thing is many municipalities within their FCSS departments, they provide more than the 20% that they are mandated, required to supply. So, you know, in discussions, we wanted to do the children's programming anyways, so rather than duplicate the services.
Be that as it may,
the money
you haven't answered my question.
You know what, Councillor Best, I can't answer that. That's something that we would bring forward to the fall workshop for numbers.
Yeah, Your Worship, I just want to say, you know, like I know it's an expensive venture, but if we don't, I just don't see any way to get around this if we don't do this. You know, I can't see our youth club being viable in the future. So, and I think this is too important a project to let it go. And I think this is one way of guaranteeing it, as been stated. But I do have one question. I just want to ensure that the present board has been approached with this project and that they're in favor of it.
Yes.
I assume they would be.
Some of the members.
Just checking. Thank you.
Councilor Rimble.
I just want to reiterate the fact that I believe this is a very small price to pay to secure something for the youth of this community. And whether it's 60,000, 120, 150,000, it's a small price to pay. I think we owe it to them.
I just want to say it, you know, again, reiterate what a lot of people are saying here, but the youth are our future here in the community. And we are all together on looking after the future of our youth. They're going to be sitting some of them will be sitting in this chair one day. And it's up to us to teach them, to lead them, to show them that there is a future in this community. And it doesn't take long to look after a $60 or $70 or $100,000 worth of damage and graffiti. If we keep them active, those things don't happen. And that is a big thing.
Yeah, just one final, maybe not a final.
Councillor Hamilton and Councillor Rocky.
No, I fully agree with what the youth program is doing here, and I always go back to the saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I give you accolades for the work you people have been doing, and carry on, and we can keep our youth occupied, and it's great. Councillor Rocky.
Councillor Rocky.
Yes, Your Worship. I've said it before at youth club board meetings. I think I said it in here a few times too. My sister in Stettler has run one of these things for about 24, 25 years now. Some of these kids she got at a very young age. Come back to Stettler and look her up now. These kids are probably 30 or in their early 30s, have their own kids now, and she gets she gets a special thank you from these kids that she helped maybe through some troubled times over the years. Maybe they were going down the left road or the right road. She managed to keep them in the middle, and she has a lot of respect from these people, and I can see that happening here too.
You know, I travel a lot throughout Alberta, and I talk to a lot of communities smaller and our size and bigger, and they say that is one of the best money spent is looking after your youth and youth club. So I'm not a bit ashamed about it.
Your Worship, could I add one thing?
Certainly.
I just wanted to state that this is a great idea because we have been struggling to raise money, and we've been struggling to the point where one of our staff was willing to volunteer hours again, and we did not want that to happen. And just to give you an example of just a few of the programs that are helping the youth, we have a program running that deals with youth, helping them deal with stress. We also have a program for kids that they can work on their anger management issues. And we have a program for girls that's been, I think, quite successful or running that deals with the self-esteem and how to help girls teenage girls who might be in some problem situations develop some self-esteem. So I think this saves us, this saves the board. It also moves us from a board that's spending so much time and energy trying to raise money that now we can focus on other things.
Councilor Rempel.
One final comment, Your Worship. Another reason that I support this wholeheartedly is because of the people that are involved in the running of the program. We have excellent people with very knowledgeable people with a lot of experience. We know what we're getting, and I think this is just a great thing all around. Great job. Well done.
Looking for a motion.
Your Worship, I move that council approve 2 additional programmer positions plus part-time facilitator positions up to 40 hours within the organizational chart under the FCSS department beginning June 24th, 2013, with funds to be drawn from financial stabilization and the amount not to exceed $60,000 for the balance of the 2013 year.
You all heard the motions, and we had a lot of discussion before. Any further discussion or comments? Not? All in favor? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, and don't come back. Bureau of Alberta 85.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm bringing forward the budget that we just put together for the stage 3 start of the tour of Alberta that's happening this September. The budget was attached. As you know, when we entered into a hosting agreement with the tour of Alberta, the town of Strathmore is required to provide a certain amount of town services, including policing, police management, road closures. And so this budget covers all those expenses on our end. As well, in our hosting agreement, we've received a certain amount of sponsorship packages that we'll be able to use to offset some of our costs, hopefully, with corporate sponsors in the community. At this time, we haven't actually approached any businesses. We're waiting for the tour level sponsors to be confirmed, which will be on June 12th. Once that's done and they know which tour level sponsors are being done with exclusive deals, then we can start looking at local level sponsorship to help recover some of the costs. So the budget that's attached is $31,650, and that includes all staff overtime and our safety overtime for the day.
Comments from council?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to make a comment. I've been at these meetings. This is one of my committees, and I've never seen a group. And these people are international. These people are from all over the states and all that. I've never seen a greater sense of excitement and you know, just everybody wants to get this thing going, and they're so well organized. This is a great group that we're dealing with, and kudos to our staff. Tracy and Jen and Jen and everyone else that have been involved in this. I think this is going to be a remarkable event. It's an international event, and we'll have more press looking at Strathmore than we've ever seen before. So I fully support the very what I consider a very frugal amount of money that's required for this budget. The word I was looking for.
Councilor Beston and Councilor Fuel.
Your Worship, I look at this, at the amount of money on this, and think about the acknowledgement and the advertising that our town will get from this, and think this is a very small cost for that. For what we're going to get back, as per the hockey tournament we had this year, that brought numerous dollars into our town, this will do the same. It will also give us international recognition, and I think this is a well spent $4.
Councilor Fuel.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo that and thank Tracy for all the work she's done, because this is going to put us on the map. It's going to bring in a lot of different cyclists. There's a cyclist, some of them that ride in the Tour de France. It's going to bring our town together, as well as some of the other things we've brought in. It's showing us, showing people that Strathmore is going to get on the map. And there's going to be 8 different, I think you told me 8 different media outlets that'll be coming here to televise this.
Roughly,
Yeah, and we're talking about festivities down on Main Street, which is right downtown. This is I know the money, it might scare people, but this is gonna bring in a lot to this town.
Absolutely.
Just to give you an idea too, the Travel Lodge has already signed a contract with their staff. That's gonna bring almost $10,000 worth of revenue just to that one business before the race is even here. Every time they come to meet with us, that's where they stay, and that's where their crew will be staying on the night before. As well, on July 3rd, I believe, City TV will be in town. They're doing a documentary on building the race, so we get to be part of that 30-minute documentary that'll be aired the day before the race, as well as all through all the media outlets around the world. Just right there.
Any idea what the amount of people it brings into the community?
It's hard to say because this will be the first year it's held in Alberta and Canada, so they're really guessing. When we were down in the States for their race, it brought hundreds and thousands of people to their communities. All the schools get involved. People travel from different parts of the state just to go see the race. They're guessing, since Strathmore is on a Friday and we're so close to Calgary, their guess is we'll see between 300 to 500 people just from Calgary coming out. And then they'll be following the race for the rest of the weekend. But right now it's just a guess. It could be 500, it could be 5,000. Not really sure.
We had 6,000 for a barbecue.
The more we promote our festival and the more unique things we have at our festival, the more people will be able to draw.
Thank you. For any comments? Not looking for a motion.
Your Worship, I would move that council approve the expenditure of $31,650 for the Tour of Alberta Festival to come out of the Financial Stabilization Fund.
Thank you. Just one further comment. Keeping in mind, press, we're going to get a lot of that back from donations and whatnot, right? And I've heard that from many other people. I'm not trying to flower the issue. It's just a true fact.
Yep.
You all heard the motion? No further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 8/6, June is Recreation Parks Month.
The Alberta Recreation and Parks Association is requesting that a proclamation for June as Recreation and Parks Month in Strathmore. This is an annual event that will give Albertans an opportunity to celebrate the success of recreation and parks and contribute to the quality of life in Alberta. Just on a side note too, HEAL organization is already planning 2 to 3 events to happen in June that will coincide with Recreation and Parks Month to promote the healthy living aspect.
Thank you. Looking for a motion?
I would move the council proclaim June 2013 as Recreation and Parks Month in Strathmore.
Y'all heard the motion, all in favor? Carried.
Your Worship, I also find it interesting that they mention here that it contributes to a quality of life in Alberta, while we have quality of life in Strathmore as a way of life.
Councilor Rimble?
Yeah, Your Worship, through the chair, I'm just wondering if Tracy has any information update as to the 55 plus games coming.
Yeah, so as you all know, I sent a memo your way. The 55 Games group will be back in Strathmore on Monday, the 10th at 2 p.m. And all the information we've been given is that it's a follow-up meeting. They have further questions that they wanted to do face-to-face.
So everybody come, right?
So I think it's just another opportunity for us to show how excited and how organized we are and how willing we are to put this kind of event on. And so if you're available on Monday at 2, we'll be in Kingsland Park. That would be nice to showcase our beautiful green space. We're part of the event. Hopefully you'll come in.
This is our final kick at the Cats. Will be there, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
8/7.
Yes, on the FCM, the mayor, Councillor Best, myself, attended the FCM last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Vancouver. One of the things we need to talk about is how many should be going to FCM in the future. And, you know, should we, at one time, a few years ago, we said all the council wanted to go to that one and AUMA. And then now, We've got it back some, so we need to have some discussion on it.
Councillor Sobel.
Well, we spent some money, and I'm going to put forth something to tighten the belt here a little. While I support our municipality remaining a part of Federal Canadian Municipalities, or FCM, I feel it's financially prudent to restrict the members of council that attend the yearly convention. This council was responsible, and properly so, for reducing the council members attending the yearly conference to the mayor and 2 councillors. I believe we should go further and reduce our council attendees to mayor and 1 councillor. I move that the maximum amount of council members that may attend future FCM conventions be limited to the mayor and 1 councillor.
Councillor Best.
Your Worship, I can't agree with this simply for the fact that if you have 6 councillors, and although we're going to 4 years from 3 years, what you're doing is you're eliminating some of your councillors from being able to go to FCM, and I don't think that that's in their better interest. I think that going to FCM for the things you get as a federal perspective rather than just municipal or provincial is outweighs certainly only having 1 person go and not allowing other councillors to participate in this. FCM has been around for very many years and been strong proponents of municipal government. I think that we need to show our support to them, and as our CAO had said a while back, it was all of the councillors who used to go. We've now cut it back to 2, and I don't feel that it would be productive for councillor to cut it back to any farther than 2.
Councillor Fuel and Councillor Rempel.
Well, I absolutely agree with Councillor Sobel. I haven't gone to 1 in 3 years, and I think I've worked hard to be an effective councillor here. I don't think it would benefit me. If I looked at the program of what might be offered at the FCM, I could Google that on my own computer and find out a lot of information just by doing that. And I agree that we've done a lot of frugal things on this council that I'm proud of. We cut out the budget retreats that used to happen twice a year. We stay in town for those. It's another thing I'm really happy with about this. The FCM, I think the mayor and 1 councillor would be fine, and we even have things like teleconferencing and the internet we can use.
Councillor Rempel.
Well, I'll up Councillor Fuel a little bit here. I've been on council for 13 years, and I've never gone to FCM. I've never attended FCM, and I agree with Councillor Fuel that anything that I want to know about FCM, it either comes on my email every week, and what I don't get there, I can Google. I don't recall anything coming back from FCM all these years that we implemented as a councillor or as a town. There are things that we come back with from AUMA that we can use and implement, but from FCM, I don't see anything coming back from there. And I would like to go 1 step further than what Councillor Sobel's motion reads, is that either the mayor or 1 councillor may attend FCM if they so desire.
Yeah, because I don't want to be committed to going. If I'm elected again, I do not want to be committed to going. If I don't choose not to go, because I didn't find it very productive whatsoever, and if I don't want council to force me to go anywhere. So I would like to make sure that's clearly understood in the motion that if I choose not to go, I choose not to go. And I don't have an alternative either, or an alternate. I don't instigate an alternate is what I'm saying. Councillor
I fully agree with Councillor Sobel. It should be restricted to the mayor and 1 councillor, and whether the mayor chooses to go or not, I still think we should have the option or whatever, so that the mayor and 1 councillor can go if they so desire. It's not a given that they should go. It's a opportunity that they can take if they so wish. But I agree with Councillor Sobel.
Councillor Rocky.
Your Worship, getting back to Councillor Rempel's statement there, can you repeat that? I didn't quite understand that.
Which part?
The last part. Basically, my question was going to be if the mayor can't go or doesn't
No,
to be
no,
there?
what I was saying is that, either the mayor or one councillor goes, so that we still have representation at the FCM. But to put the onus on the mayor to have to attend every year
Right.
is not fair to the mayor because, not in all circumstances anyway. That's what I was getting at.
Right, so if the mayor, for some reason, can't go or doesn't want to go, would there be then two councillors going?
No.
Just one
No.
councillor?
That's correct. Yeah.
That's how my
Is that how,
motion reads as
do you
well.
want to read that again, Councillor Sullivan?
My motion reads, I move that the maximum amount of council members that may attend future FCM conventions be limited to the mayor and one
Very good.
councillor.
I would like to state in there, though, if an amendment to that, it says that if the mayor chooses not to go,
Oh.
there's no alternative.
But that's.
There's no alternative.
Yeah, but he has maximum.
That's, it's maximum of one mayor and one councillor, period.
Okay, as long as that's not, and in my experience there too, I mean, this is for big cities. I tell you guys, they don't even know we're there, and they don't really care other than numbers. And I find it too much entertainment going on in this thing. I did make one contact on a business deal that might help the town of Strathmore. I'm not going to get into it any further. If that pays off, then it's worth it. But that's all other than that, I found it very non-productive. Councillor Best.
Your Worship, FCM, the greater percentage of members of FCM are either rural or small town. That's been well proven. With all the members that they have, that's just a fact of life. The fact that we can get information and networking with a group of people who are from diverse parts of our country that may be able to help us. For us to forego this is beyond my comprehension.
Any further, Councillor Field?
Well, I just disagree because a few years ago, I organized a trip to California for our high school basketball teams, and that was done strictly via the internet. I got in touch with a Christian high school in a smaller school in Anaheim, and we did everything online. We found out information about the school. We partnered schools. We found out a great deal of things. Went down there, had a tremendous time. They put us through some different events, and if you can organize an event like that just by talking to someone on emails and through the internet, I just think there's a lot of ways to find out information and to set up contacts with other people in other parts of the country other than having to actually go there.
I just find that $4,000 or $5,000 could be better spent. Simple as that.
Is that
All
per
right.
person?
Eh?
Per person, is that what?
Oh, no, it was probably.
Okay, thanks.
So, you all heard the motion. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Carried. Opposed? One opposed. Nothing more from administration.
There's one more, Your
One,
Worship.
eight, sorry.
Your Worship, that's my matter, and I just want to clarify something with council in regards to the Calgary Regional Partnership Transportation Committee. I have been on and off with that committee for the last number of years, and there was an agreement that I should perhaps be officially put back on that committee while they are dealing with some issues that could be affecting Strathmore in that transportation area in the future. So my motion would be that Councillor Sobel be assigned to the Calgary Regional Partnership Transportation Committee to represent the town of Strathmore in areas that deal with regional transportation.
I'll hear the motion. Any questions or discussion?
I guess the only question I have, Your Worship, is what makes this beneficial to us at this point in time?
Well, there's a Councillor Best. There's a direction that they're going that would see the CRP purchase the capital items for a regional transportation committee. And if we're not at the table, they won't. Those buses will not be coming to Strathmore. certainly nothing set in stone, and it's something that has to come into to council if they wish to have it extended. But at this point, it's an information gathering exercise.
I have to say, Councillor Sobel, it's not often I'm on side with Councillor Best, but this is really disconcerting to me in the sense that I belong to CRP as a mayor and go there to many of their meetings. And I'm going to say publicly a few things that I'm really disappointed in. One of them, they just spent $175,000 on branding of a bus system that we don't even have yet, and to name it On It. And I could have had some high school kids do a better job on that. It just to me, we're way ahead of our times. It's 15 years away before we, and is it an advantage to have bus service in Strathmore? We don't know that at this point in time in life. And I hear you, and I respect the fact you're saying, well, if you're not at the table, you don't, you're not going to be able to participate. How do we know that even? I really question the whole reason for it. You know.
Yeah, I have enough meetings during the week. I really don't want one more, but you know, I feel that to gather information to bring back to council is kind of an important step in this whole process. If we don't want that information, then I'd gladly forego these meetings.
Councillor Rempel.
I don't have a problem with Councillor Sobel going back on a committee. We all know that we're not going to be seeing transportation buses coming to Strathmore in the next year or 2 or 10. But if we're not at the table, it's the same as CRP. We're not there, we probably will lose out in the end. And they are not coming, transportation, I don't believe are coming and looking for any funding from us at this point in time. And so why not gather as much information about this, because eventually it will happen.
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Field, or Councillor Best, sorry.
Your Worship, I just find it a little ironical that we just went over that you can find all the information you want on the internet. And if we can find all the information we want on the internet, I'm sure we can find this on the internet. The fact is we're spending money on travel for no apparent reason. As you say, this is possibly 20 or 30 years down the road. And I don't see the necessity of having a councillor go to these meetings.
Councillor Field?
Well, I think you're making a point about comparing apples to oranges as far as the FCM attendance compared to Councillor Sobel being on a committee that he's willing to be on. If he wants to be on a committee and he feels, having gone to the meetings, that it's an important thing, I don't think the expenditure is going to be anywhere close to what it would be to go to FCM conferences. So if he wants to be on this committee, God bless you. So do you want us to vote against your motion?
No, but I seriously, I'm sorry, I know I'm out of line here, but I prefer not. I don't really need this meeting. They're usually held in Cochrane, and yes, my gas is paid when I go there, but that's all that's paid. But you know, the fact is, and I agree completely with Councillor Rempel, this is coming. We have to start looking at this. I mean, you know, we're a growing community, and we eventually we're going to be part of this region, this transport. And I think we should be part of a transportation regional transportation system in the southern Alberta, in the Calgary area. I think it's going to be very beneficial. But these are all decisions that we have to make in the future. But if we don't have any information to make decisions on it, then I think we're going down the wrong track.
Councillor Hamilton.
Just a question to Councillor Sobel is, would it be beneficial to go to a couple of these meetings, see how valid your attendance would be if you could bring back some information and just.
I've got binders like this here. I've been going to these meetings for 5 years.
You see anything
Well, eventually, every once in a while, something becomes very, this direction that they're heading towards now, instead of having each community look after their own transportation versus them looking at doing the capital purchases is a huge thing. Don't forget, there's also a bunch of money in green transportation funds here, to the tune of a couple of $1 billion that we have access to if we're at the table. If we're not there, we don't have access to that money. And that's not our money, that's provincial money.
I just want further comment on me is that it's not the capital. One of the communities telling me it's not the capital expenditure so much of the bus or the grant from the province. It's the operating costs of that bus is right out of this world. And I have, I'm always scared of getting onto the train, and all of a sudden you can't get off because it's going down the track so fast that you just can't get off it. And all of a sudden we're caught with owning buses and paying for them and renting them and maintaining them and so on and so forth.
And just in response to this, I really do not feel this is getting on any train. This is simply information gathering. This is basically gathering information to give to the council. I think we're a long ways from getting on any train.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not,
What's the motion?
You made a motion?
I did.
Yes.
The motion was that Councillor Sobel be assigned to the Calgary Regional Partnership Transportation Committee to represent the town of Strathmore in areas that deal with regional transportation.
Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Opposed? 2 opposed.
So carried.
That was carried, yeah. You have to go to work now. 10-1 council committee reports. Council Sobel.
Strathmore Wheatland Addiction Team, or SWAT. A meeting was held May 9th and I was in attendance. Year 2 of the positive ticketing program was started and some new rewards being offered to youth who are caught by the peace officers in the Strathmore and district area who are doing something to improve our community were presented. Representatives of 3 police forces, Wheatland County, Town of Strathmore, and RCMP were present to receive the new ticket books to be used for this initiative. The slogan boards will take a couple months off for the summer and then start again in September. A 3rd board will be devoted to our friends in the county. Our Kids and Drugs program is going along very well and is scheduled to take place this fall. Advertising this program, which focuses on getting parents ready for issues pertaining to their children and drugs, will be forthcoming. In regards to SAY, which is the Strathmore Assembly for Youth, I was unable to attend the May 9th meeting. And perhaps, I'm not sure if you were there, Your Worship, but maybe you can cover that in your meetings and your report if you wish. There were no meetings, and the only other issue I had was the Alberta 55 Plus Summer Games, and Tracy was kind enough to cover that off for me in regards to the June 10th, 2 p.m. Kinsman Lake meeting with Alberta Sport, Recreation, Parks and Wildlife Foundation. Thank you.
No questions? Not, Councillor Rocky.
Thank you, Your Worship. Attended the Strathmore Handy Bus Association meeting May 27th at the hospital. Financial statements looking very well indeed, thanks to Mel, who just left. Our trips for the month of April total 514. Keep in mind, a lot of those trips are short ones going to Sagewood. Repairs are very minimal on the units right at the moment. Some units had commercial vehicle inspections done by Wheatland County in kind. Just a closing note on the handy bus. My 2.5 years on this board committee, this association is in very good shape financially. May 28th, attended a United Way meeting. Not too much discussion at the meeting. We discussed about implementing board policies at the Strathmore level, as we are in a partnership thing with Calgary. We felt it important to get some policies in place that we never had before, so we were working on that. Fundraising events, we have a few of them coming up over the summer, and No, other than that, that's all I had for United Way.
Done? Any questions, Councillor? None? Councillor Hamilton?
Councillor Rocky and I myself attended a special board meeting for Wademsa a couple of weeks ago. Our local MLA and Dr. Brown, he's the shadow minister for health, I believe. They were in attendance. Much discussion was held in regards to the differences in budgets that AHS has presented and what Wademsa has presented. We're still quite a ways apart. Various ideas were given to our local MLA and also Dr. Brown. He assured that he'd be taking these concerns back to the minister and getting back to us. At this point in time, we haven't heard anything as yet. Chamber of Commerce held on May 26th. There's much discussion in regards to events that can make us some money. Leases have been signed, and basically we're getting back on track, and it should be a go-ahead. The discussion was held in regards to the local parade, and that's going well fine. That's about it for the chamber. And just to clarify a few things in regards to CIB, Communities in Bloom, it is not defunct as some people have said in the general public and been passing on to some of our councillors. There is a new president that hopefully will be coming on board to talk to Mr. Reitweiser in that regard. We have currently registered with the province, and we won't be going for a bloom, but we'll be going for just underneath that category. You have a question? No? Okay. And COP, Citizens on Patrol, is well and active. We haven't had any meetings lately, but Teresa and Debbie Murray advised me in our meetings that they are active and pretty much every weekend and having a good time. That's it.
Thank you. No questions to Councillor Hamilton. Councillor Best.
First, I'd like to thank the mayor for attending the Happy Gang meeting on May the 14th for me. It was a meeting I couldn't attend, and the mayor graciously accepted going for me. Community Futures Wild Rose meeting was held on May the 2nd. It was mainly due to budget and annual planning. There is one thing. The Community Futures Wild Rose has to do with the ATV Entrepreneurial Challenge. This is a contest held for new businesses, for new entrepreneurs to submit their business plans, and they are subsequently marked by 3 people. The top 3 go into a final competition. Last year, the winning team got $48,000 in prizes, worth advertising, bookkeeping, and all that kind of thing for their business. For the first time ever this year, we have a team from the Strathmore area. Kindred Companions has placed in the top 3 and will be doing their interviews next week to try and win this competition. Other than that, the housing, we had 3 meetings. There were some minor things discussed, but mainly the 3 meetings were all held in camera, and therefore cannot be spoken of at this time.
Thank you. If no questions, Councillor Best. Not Councillor Pugh.
Yeah, Wheatland Housing, I just echo Councillor Best's report. We had in-camera sessions that can't be talked about. The Museum Committee, we are struggling to keep regular attendance going, but we are still trying to hang in there and do some work. We're working on adding to and improving our society application. The Youth Club, the bulk of the meeting was the presentation discussion from Linda Nelson about staffing being under FCSS. So that, again, my thanks to you for that. The library meeting, we went over all the monthly statements and balances. I reported to the library board on my attendance at the Marigold annual general meeting, which is not that long ago. Sign-outs and patron count is up. I know you guys are thrilled to hear that. And we've approved the professional day regarding customer care, courtesy, and procedures, so that's very good for the library. Tour of Alberta, I was on that committee, and I'm in charge of communicating and getting schools to be involved with the events of Tour of Alberta. So I've sent out a large email today to all the elementary, junior, senior high schools, both separate and public. We're looking at ways for the kids to get involved through things like posters, banners, jersey decorations, and lining the streets and being part of the street festival. And that is it.
Any questions of Councillor Field? If not, Councillor Rempel.
Yeah, I attended the seniors meeting there at the, what do they call it?
Happy Gang?
Happy Gang meeting on May the 14th. On behalf of the mayor had to go out of town on family business, I believe. And so and Councillor Best was not available, I believe. So I updated them as to what was happening and took some questions and answered them to the best of my ability. And I think we all had a good time, and I'm looking forward to the next meeting.
I'll be there. and I'll be there.
That's it.
That's all you done? Okay.
Don't make long reports.
Thank you very much. No questions of Councillor Rempel. I guess I'm left. I did attend a same meeting on May 9th, and there was a big discussion and a lot of enthusiasm about this app that they're putting on the bike pass. The kids are doing a great job, and believe it or not, folks, this app is an amazing. I mean, it's in Calgary. We're one of the few in the rules that do it. It's going to create a lot of enthusiasm. The younger generation think it's the end all and be all of walking pass and bike pass. Heaven knows, I still don't know what it really does, but apparently the young people just love it. And I guess it tells distance and time when you walk and the speed you go and where the next what is check station or something. Maybe you could help me out here. I'm struggling.
No, thanks.
But
I haven't connected my app yet.
And June 1st is when we can all try our new app with the bike pass here. It's going to be up and running.
Yeah, they started already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's another test.
For testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please join it, and
but you can't join it yet.
when you can.
Yeah.
And I'm in trouble, but I'm backing them. But I think it's a great day because it adds a lot to the community. It really does, believe it or not. And I was going to write down that I attended a Happy Gang, but I guess I didn't. I forgot that. I did the month before, I believe.
Nobody knows the difference.
Yeah. Anyway, CRP. I'm in Calgary Regional Planning. Calgary Regional Planning is a great organization in many ways. I've been attending many mediation meetings. Who's involved in the mediation meeting? And by the way, it's all confidential or in camera. We can't. I'm not allowed to discuss what's happening, but I can say who's there, and that's myself. Patricia from Chestermere, Mayor from Chestermere, also a Mayor from Cochrane, and the CRP, of course, and 2 counties. And many discussions as to how we're going to continue with making this whole CRP system work. I can't go into it further, but there's a lot of meetings. The meetings are long and very trying. We had one regular CRP meeting, and that was mostly to do with housekeeping rules and regulations. Other than that, and a bit on the budget. Please attend the next AGM meeting coming up in June. I don't have the date in front of me, but I did send you all the invitation. No further questions? Yes.
Can I give my report?
You certainly can.
Okay, thank you. On economic development, our building permits are just a little bit lower than last year. But on the commercial in particular, we've done pretty well. Even in the past couple of weeks, we have 3 key ones that have taken place. Ryan Automotive They're building a building, and have you noticed when you go down 817, there's a half dozen pickup trucks in a row there on the west side? Anyway, he's going to put a building up there, a nice building with some bays. He'll do automotive repair and so on there. And that permit is $800,000. So that's a good permit. The Old Mill Pub, Strathmore Motorsports, is moving from the bays they're in now over to the Old Mill Pub there, and then they'll lease out or sell their other bays they have that they're presently in. So that'll be a beautiful building, Strathmore Motorsports. They will have a service area, they'll have a sales area, and so forth. And another permit, Pizza Hut Express, they're going into the Ranch Market, one of the bays near Opa's, over in that area in the strip mall, and their permit's $100,000 just for renovations. So anyway, those permits are, and then we had some in the last couple of months as well. So on the commercial, we're 5 times what we were last year at this time.
Thank you. Any questions from the council and administration to this point? If not, I'm looking for a motion to go into camera. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending and those on virtual plans.
Your worship, first I would move to accept the reports.
Oh, good point. All in favor? Carried. Motion to go into camera?
I so move.
All in favor? Carried. And we'll have a 5-minute environmental break.